The day after Claire's funeral, the house still smelled like lilies and damp coats. The casseroles were still in the fridge, the sympathy card still stacked on the entry table, and her favorite throw blanket was still folded on the arm of the couch like she might come back and reach for it. I was standing in the hallway when Ethan walked in with two friends behind him, suits too crisp for grief and faces too hard for a man who had just buried his mother. He did not say hello. He did not ask if I had slept. He looked past me at the house the way a buyer looks at a property. Then he said it, flat and clean, like he had practiced it on the drive over. "You need to leave." I thought I misheard him because the words did not fit the day. I waited for him to soften, for him to say, not forever, just for now, for him to show a shred of the boy I helped raise when he was 14 and angry at the world. He did not. "This is my mom's house," he said. "You are not family. You were just her husband." The sentence landed like a shove. 15 years with Claire, reduced to a technicality. I tried to keep my voice steady because the truth is grief makes you slow and shock makes you polite. "Ethan, not today," I said. He nodded toward the front door like a bouncer ending a shift. "Today. Take your clothes, everything else stays. The car stays too, it is in her name." His friends shifted behind him, not loud, not threatening, just present in a way that made the air tighter. I could taste the metal of my own heartbeat. My mind did what minds do when they are cornered. It tried to bargain with memory. I saw Claire in the kitchen last winter, laughing as I fixed the cabinet hinge. I saw Ethan at the dining table, 21, asking me to help him rewrite a resume because he wanted to start fresh. I saw the checks I wrote when he said he just needed a little help again. I went upstairs because my legs moved even when my brain did not. I packed a duffel. Shirts, socks, my work boots, the watch Claire gave me for our 10th anniversary. In the bathroom mirror, I looked like a man who had already been erased. Gray around the mouth, eyes hollow, shoulders slumped like the house was pushing me out. When I came back down, Ethan held out his hand. "Keys," he said. I dropped them into his palm. The clink felt final. At the doorway, he leaned closer, voice low, controlled, the way people speak when they want to scare you without leaving fingerprints. "If you try anything, I will tell everyone you took advantage of her. People will believe me." Outside, the wind cut through my suit and into my bones. I sat in my old pickup and stared at the porch light I replaced last month, the one Claire held the ladder for, telling me to be careful like she still needed me alive. My phone buzzed, a message from Ethan. Short and confident. "Do not come back." I drove to a motel off the highway, the kind with buzzing neon and thin blankets, and I sat on the edge of the bed until the sun went down. When I reached for my wallet to count what little cash I had, my fingers hit something hard and familiar. A small brass key on a worn ring. Claire's safe deposit key. She asked me to keep it years ago. Ethan had kicked me out of my own life, and he forgot the one thing Claire trusted me to hold. The next morning, I woke up before dawn. Not because I was rested, but because my brain would not stop running the same loop. Claire is gone. Ethan has the house. I am in a motel that smells like bleach and old smoke. I sat up, pulled the brass key from my wallet, and held it in my palm until it stopped feeling like a random object and started feeling like a door. Claire kept a safe deposit box at the downtown branch, the one she liked because the staff never tried to sell her anything. The box was under her maiden name because she trusted her instincts more than paperwork, and she once told me, almost casually, "If anything ever happens, you will have the key. Not Ethan. He loses things." At 9, I walked into the bank in yesterday's suit, motel air still clinging to my collar, and told the teller I needed to access a safe deposit box. She looked at the key, then at my ID, then asked for the name on the box. "Claire Bennett," I said. "Now Claire Bennett Hart." Her face shifted into that practiced softness people use on widowers. "I am sorry for your loss." "Thank you," I said, even though the words felt like they belonged to someone else. She disappeared and returned with a woman in a navy blazer. "Mr. Hart," she said, "I am Linda Reyes, branch operations manager. Please come with me." In a small office, Linda folded her hands and spoke gently but firmly. "The box is registered to Claire Bennett. The authorized signer is also Claire Bennett. Since she has passed, the box is sealed until an executor is confirmed." My stomach dropped. "I am her husband," I said. Linda nodded.
I understand, but safe deposit access is contractual. Without your name on the lease, we need a court order or confirmation from the estate executor. Sealed. Of course. Everything in my life had been sealed lately. I forced my hands still. There should be a will, I said. Linda clicked her pen and glanced at her screen. There is a file attached to the box, a letter on record marked Release upon presentation of key and death certificate. My throat tightened. I have the death certificate, I said. She held out her hand. I slid the papers across. She read, then stood. Please wait here. When she returned, she carried an envelope, and her expression was different. Not shock, something like cautious respect. She placed it on the desk without opening it. This is addressed to you, she said. My name was on the front in Claire's handwriting. Mark Hart. My fingers trembled as I broke the seal. Inside was a letter and a notarized page. The first line made my vision blur. Mark, if you are reading this, Ethan has tried to take what is not his. The air in my lungs caught. Grief loosened just enough for something else to move in. Not rage, not revenge, clarity. Linda watched my face. Do you understand what that document is? She asked. I looked at the notarized page again, reading the words slowly, as if reading them carefully could keep my life from falling apart again. It was proof. It was structure. It was my wife's voice turned into something the world had to respect. And for the first time since the funeral, I felt the floor return under my feet.
I read Claire's letter twice before the words stopped wobbling. She dated it 3 years ago, neat and careful, like she was labeling a file. Claire was the kind of woman who packed an umbrella on a sunny day because storms liked showing up uninvited. She wrote that Ethan loved her but resented me. She wrote that he resented anyone who could tell him no. She wrote that if she was gone, he would try to erase me. Then she wrote the line that felt like her hand on my shoulder. Do not beg. Do not argue. Use what I left. The notarized page was not a will. It was trust paperwork. Claire had placed the house into a living trust quietly, without drama, without giving Ethan a reason to interfere. She was the grantor. I was named successor trustee. Ethan was a beneficiary, not an owner. Control of the property transferred to me the moment she died. Ethan could call it his mother's house all he wanted. Legally, it was not his to claim. I felt cold all over, like I had stepped into deep water. I thought about all the years I tried to keep peace, the years I swallowed irritation to avoid another argument, the years I played the steady man so Claire would not have to carry Ethan's chaos alone. Claire had seen it. She had planned for it. Linda's voice pulled me back. Mr. Hart, you need an attorney today, she said. I nodded. I will. She led me to the vault area anyway and handed me a small black pouch. Your wife requested this be given directly to you. In the safe deposit room, the air was cooler and the silence heavier. I opened the pouch. Inside was a second key and a folded sheet labeled in Claire's handwriting, If Ethan Lies. The second key had a storage tag with a facility name and a unit number. My mouth went dry. Claire built more than one exit. The folded sheet was a list of dates and amounts with copies of checks. Ethan's name again and again next to rent arrears, legal fee, credit card payoff, car repair, emergency loan. At the bottom, she wrote one sentence that made my eyes burn. If he claims Mark took advantage of me, show them this. Mark kept this family afloat. I sat there, breathing through the tightness in my chest. I had not asked Claire to defend me from the grave, but she did it anyway, refusing to let the last version of me be the one Ethan pushed into the wind. I left the bank with both keys in my pocket and her letter folded inside my jacket. In the parking lot, I sat in my truck and stared at the steering wheel until my breathing slowed. Then I opened my phone and searched for a lawyer. I did not need flashy, I needed exact. I picked a name that kept appearing in reviews. Janet Caldwell, Trusts and Estates. People called her unshakable, the kind of attorney who did not negotiate with intimidation. I called, said I needed an emergency appointment, and got a time that afternoon. As I drove across town, grief still rode with me, but it was not driving anymore. Claire left me a map, and Ethan had been too busy celebrating to realize it. Janet Caldwell's office was above a bakery that smelled like cinnamon and burnt coffee. That warmth felt wrong against the cold in my chest. Janet was in her 50s with a sharp haircut and eyes that did not blink at messy family stories.
She read the trust documents, the letter, and the list of checks without making a single sympathetic sound. When she looked up, her voice was calm and clear. "Ethan removed you without legal authority," she said. "He changed locks and threatened you. We handle this clean." Clean sounded survivable. Janet drafted a notice asserting my authority as successor trustee and a demand for immediate restoration of access to the trust property. She arranged a civil standby because she understood what I already knew. Ethan would not behave for me. He would behave for a uniform and a paper trail. The next morning, I parked 3 houses down from my driveway. My hands stayed in my jacket pockets, fingers wrapped around Claire's letter like it was the only steady thing left. The sheriff's cruiser rolled up without sirens, just tires on pavement and quiet procedure. Ethan opened the door fast, like he had been watching. He saw the deputy, then saw me, and confusion flashed before he tried to pull arrogance back over it. "What is this?" he snapped. The deputy spoke evenly. "This property is held in the Claire Bennett Hart Living Trust. Mark Hart is the successor trustee. You are not authorized to exclude him. Provide access immediately." Ethan laughed, sharp and fake. "That is not real. My mom would never." Janet stepped forward and handed the deputy the recorded documents and the death certificate. "It is real," she said. "It is recorded." The deputy scanned the paperwork. "If you refuse, we document your refusal and proceed. You may be subject to trespass once the trustee regains possession." Ethan's confidence cracked because his friends were not there and there was no audience to bully. He opened the door wider with a stiff motion. "Fine," he muttered. "Take it." I walked past him into the house. The lilies were still there, but now mixed with stale cologne and resentment. My boots by the hallway were gone. Grief hit hard and sudden, but under it I heard Claire's words, "Do not beg." Ethan spoke through his teeth. "You think you won." I turned and faced him. "You forgot the key," I said quietly. His jaw clenched. The deputy stood there. The documents were real. Claire's handwriting had already spoken. I met Ethan's eyes. "I do not think I won," I told him. "I think Claire made sure you did not." The house went quiet in a way it had not been since the funeral, and for the first time in weeks I could breathe like the air belonged to me again.